Jack and Jill here.
Hello.
Welcome to the Jack Jill Show, entertaining real estate investment talk. I'm Jack Butala.
And I am Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from sunny Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about finding a money partner. You know, it seems like a simple thing, and it can be simple, but people avoid it. I wonder why. It's not real complicated.
Isn't that funny? People have deals and they go, I think that they go, I don't have enough money. I can't do this deal, instead of going, wait a minute, I need to find a partner to get this done because it is that good of a deal. That's what the thought process should be.
It never stopped Bill Gates. It never stopped anybody, any iconic business person, without exception, did not have the money to start their own company.
Right.
They sought it from somewhere else.
Exactly.
And for whatever reason, we don't talk about it that much. Not us, but we don't talk about who's the money behind that whole thing.
You know, it's funny. They don't realize that the people that have the money want to spend the money. They're looking for that.
That's truly what the show's about, Jill. I'm glad you brought it up.
Thank you.
People who have money would love to hear from you.
Because they want their money to be more money. Huh. First thought.
And they don't really want to find a real estate deal themselves.
Right. They just rather sit back and let you invest their money and make a profit. Everybody wins.
Here's a key point we're going to talk about today, trust. Before we get into that, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the JackJill.com online community. It's free.
Okay. Brian asks, I am drafting the terms for a purchase agreement for vacant land sale deals where a portion of the sale amount I will finance to a buyer. My question is regarding the potential buyer default. What time period can I list for a default period on the loan before I dissolve the agreement and the property reverts to me? These properties will be all vacant parcels at the time of sale. I imagine this becomes complicated if the parcel is their primary residence by the time of the default. I notice that most of the contracts like this I've seen don't address this issue. Perhaps there's a reason for that. As an addendum, can I stipulate that no permanent development can be allowed until a certain percentage of the loan is fulfilled?
This is a brilliant question.
Yeah, that was a good idea, too.
And it's perfectly crafted, Brian. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So, may I, Jill? There's several states. All states are different, first of all. So the answers to most of these questions can be found at the Department of Real Estate in the state you're in. But I'll tell you this in general. If you're just going to do a vacant land contract, like we talk about all the time, and not do a trustee, a trust sale, where you involve a title agent, it's just you and the seller. In most cases, and not all cases, notably Colorado is very different. When the person pays the loan off, that's when they own the property, and that's the way it is with your house. You own the property technically the second you sign the mortgage and that deal closes, but it's not lien free. You're not free to do anything and everything that you'd like to do with it or can do with it until the thing's paid off. Your house. So, but you still live in there. You move walls around. You don't call your mortgage company and say, "Hey, do you mind if I change the tile
roof on?"
Yeah. And it's the same with the vacant land. The second that they sign the thing, they should be able to move in and build a house and do whatever they want.
Right.
So these are very good questions, and there's a couple little tiny questions in there that I'm going to address here. What time period can I list for a default period before before I dissolve the agreement and the property reverts to me? It's whatever you stipulate in the agreement. The agreements that Jill and I use, where if they have defaulted for 31 days on a payment, we have the right to take the property back. In fact, the language is a lot more clear than that. It says, on the 31st day that you are behind in your loan, we technically own the property. We don't have to. It doesn't require any action on our part. It's automatic. Now, do we do that in reality? No. Jill calls them a million times, and we work with them, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on. But that is technically what is possible if you want to be a Scrooge about it. So, I hope that answers the question, Jill. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah. Is there any? If Brian wants to go this path, can he legally add an addendum? I guess he can legally do anything he wants and stipulate something like that. I guess the answer is yes, but gosh, you might be shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, why would you rather take a property back that's got a house on it that they built for you?
Yeah.
Or would you rather take a property back that, you haven't allowed them to use how they want to.
Well, yeah, and I was just going to add that. That's the ideal thing is they live on it and love it. You want them to move in and make it their own, because it's going to hurt then if they do miss some payments and all that. So, yeah, I'm with you, Jack. I'm not sure that I would do something like this. You want them to, and you don't want to scare them away. You know what I mean? I don't know. And here's the reality. If the deal is structured properly, you're making your money back pretty fast in the process. Usually within sometimes the down payment. I was going to say, we have a lot of members that they make their investment back in the down payment.
Yeah.
So all these payments are gravy. So am I really worried about he's, a year in, they stop paying and, oh no, I don't have that money? No, I already really made my money back. So I'm cool with that. And it's not a big deal.
We have members where that's their business model, that
Yep.
the default rate is as high as 95% on all the deals that they do. So they just, every piece of property they buy, they sell it, and they start collecting payments, and eventually it defaults, and they resell it, and they collect. We don't do that.
Right.
But we have members that
Very
do that,
true.
and that's the whole thing. And they don't set out to, it's not malicious. It's just what happens.
Right. And the nice thing is the states that you can do something like this, just have a nice purchase agreement. You don't have to record anything. It's just super easy. It's seamless.
Right.
You just it's like you have a car posted on sale for Craigslist and then you turn the car off because it's sold, and then you can go back in and redo the posting. It's not that easy, but you just put it back out for sale.
Right.
So
I'll tell you, in all cases, no matter what, you want to make sure that you're in good communication with the person who purchased the property. You don't want to upset them, because all problems for you as a landowner and a person who self-finances deals like this, they all start with the fact that you have a real angry customer,
right,
and that you're not listening to what they're saying. In a lot of cases, Jill, if somebody's halfway through paying off a property and we've made 10 times what we put into it, a lot of times we'll call the guy and say, look, what do you say you make 2 more payments? Maybe 2 or 3 more payments, even if you want to do them now. And we're going to sign the deed over to you, and congratulations.
Exactly.
This worked out great for both of us, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
That's who we are.
And if you're a good person too, Brian, and you really try to work with them like we do, if something really crazy went on in their life and they did, bolt, they will go dark and they won't come back, and they are more afraid of you tracking them down, kind of thing. They are nervous about that. So
the vast majority of the time, that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right.
Right. So you don't, you did your best to try to help them and save them and make it easy for them. I've done all of that, try to reach them, and at some point you just have to go, okay, I guess this guy's gone, kind of thing, and it's all good.
Today's topic, finding a money partner. It's way easier than you think. This is the meat of the show. I've seen so many people discontinue their thriving real estate or never even start because they think they have to use their own money.
Yeah.
That's really what this is about. I've also seen people dramatically fail on their first deal because they went to Bank of America and got a 99% loan on an asset that they're overpaying for that was in the MLS from a real estate agent brother-in-law.
Yep.
So what the heck are you talking about, Jack? What, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. So in between here's a couple other types of loans you can get that Jill and I are utilizing right now in a really, really successful way for wholesaling houses. There's way more money out there than sense. Finding money, and equity money, is maybe one of the easiest things you can do if you approach it correctly and professionally. You have a relatively good track record. Well, Jack, how do you get a track record if you're just starting out? I'll explain it in a second. So finding a money partner can really catapult your career, and if you do it properly, really reduce the risk of you losing a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
This is the meat of the show, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts, Jill? What you said to me yesterday, and you're right. Let's cut to the chase on some of these deals.
Oh, God.
Let's cut to the chase.
Right. We could do this slowly and methodically and organically and just keep going. Seriously, I'm sure people have this conversation too. And do this, in an inch ahead, or we could just cut to the chase. We know what we're doing. after we've tested a few deals, by the way, don't just jump, you want to make sure you do know your stuff and then just go for it. So that was a conversation.
Here's what she was talking about. Jill and I we have started on the path of creating House Academy, which is the house version of Land Academy, where you send a ton of letters out. Excuse me. You send purchase agreements out with an exact dollar amount in there. People sign them or they don't. And you purchase them and resell them for more. These are all cash basis stuff. None of its terms. It doesn't involve a lender.
Doesn't involve a bank.
I, about a month ago, tested it and sent out a ton of letters. And what I thought would happen, happened. A ton of them got signed and sent back. No, way more than we can afford to pay cash for.
Right.
So we reached out to some of our members, and several of them came back and said, I would love to do this with you. And long story short, we are doing it with them. And we're collecting this is private money lending at its finest. We cut a 2 or 3 page agreement. We purchase the house. We immediately resell it. The investor gets all of his money back, and we all split for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And it's working perfectly. And so what Jill was referring to while we're sitting there staring at it, did you ever look at your spouse in the car in the garage and you pull in there? This is one of those moments. So I said, no, wait a second. We have to methodically, let's just make sure these first 10 or 20 deals get done correctly. Let's put together a system, and which is all code for it. Jill, you have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Good point.
So she just looked at me and said, can we just kind of like cut to the chase and take a more, what she really means is, can we take a more Wall Street approach to this?
Right.
Get a bunch of money and really just put some people in place and
do it. Big. Go big.
Steve Jobs' this thing.
Yeah, let's go big. Yeah.
So if I can do it, I just proved the concept for every listener here. If you use the letters in the template and you get involved in House Academy and put the right people in the right place, Jill and I we don't withhold any information. Everything we do is right in this is not a sales pitch, but we don't withhold anything. So finding a money partner when you have a group like ours, or when you're part of a group like ours, where there's lots of money people involved, and there's lots of people that act kind of like we do as operators, it's just a matter of asking.
Exactly. I wrote down, so I was thinking about finding a money partner. What if I was brand new? I was thinking about, I came up with like 3 ways. There's organically, there's advertising for one, and then like you covered with us, we have them in our back pocket in our community. So, because what if you're not us?
Oh, so you knew what I was going to say already.
Did I?
Just good.
Oh, good.
It's unusual.
No, this is part of my take notes before the show. So I do that. So, okay, so say you're not us and you're new, right? And you're finding deals. You need the money to get these done. Well, you can organically find them, and because maybe they're the people I hate to say using friends and family, but you know what? It's not crazy. We have one member who lives in San Diego. I'm not gonna say his name, but he had been investing in other property types for years back east. Found us, and after 10 minutes, basically said, "Oh my goodness, this is a gold mine." He immediately called every single family member and got them all in. So they all pooled their resources, because this guy he's really good, and he
pulled it off.
They are all very happy, and it all worked out great. So it doesn't work for everybody, but I'm just saying that was his little organic way of just kind of reaching out to his people.
That's a real private investor situation.
Right. So that was one.
That's beyond my risk threshold, by the way. Just
you don't
for the
want
record.
to use, yeah.
So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying it worked for him. But would you go ask your mother for money?
I know people do.
I wouldn't.
I know, but I mean.
But would you?
No. Now hold on a moment. No, I would not. I know. But you know what? It depends on the person. Really, it's really up to you. Depends on the person. So now another way that I've seen people doing and sometimes doing well is advertising. And like even for us, like right now, one way that our members do it is we have a closed community and we have a deal board and in the back, and they will basically, so they're basically advertising for a money partner, but at least they're advertising within the community that they know, we all know what they're doing and what everybody's capable of, and we all know what everybody knows and everything. So,
Yeah.
but technically they're putting like an ad on there like, hey guys, I have these 10 deals. I don't have the money. These are awesome deals. Look at them.
And let's split it.
Uh-huh.
I'll do all the work. You front all the money. It's not that much money in rural vacant land case. You know, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, maybe at most. Sometimes less.
You know what's funny about that too, Jack? I'm surprised I don't see that in social media more often.
Well, there's huge regulations because of that.
Really?
In a closed group like, let me clarify. That's all regulated by the SEC, and it's
social media stuff. You can't put that out there.
There's this whole notion of crowdfunding money and trying to, and advertising to get. It's very regulated. But they provide it in the most recent regs that I read. If you're part of a group and it's established and you're involved together for a certain amount of time, I think they said 90 days. That then it becomes a very open market.
Got it. Well, I'm not recommending to do crowd. I'm just saying, say I have 10 deals and I just need somebody with some cash. I don't think that stuff's crazy, but you can't do that even like on Facebook and stuff. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay. That would be why I don't see it.
But again, I think that probably goes on, but we don't hear about it.
Got it. Because I don't think.
And that might not be.
Because you know what? None of that's crazy. Because here's a reality. Like if someone came to me and said, Jill, oh my gosh, I just found these parcels in Colorado. I don't have the money. These are fantastic. I kind of don't care who they are. I'm going to look at the deal, and then the deal is going to do it. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to make sure that they know how to close a deal and do it all correctly because I know what I'm doing. But I wouldn't let it go to waste.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
At all.
And I don't have to know them.
Me too. Same thing.
It's about the deal.
If they're in our group.
It's about the deal.
If they're in our group, then it's
really easy.
And if they've been in our group for a while, and this isn't their first deal, I mean, I would look at things like that, but it is about the deal. Even if they are not in our group and don't know anything about it, and we really review the deal, you and I, and it's one of those head-shaking deals like, oh my God,
quick
we need
run to the bank. Right.
Then heck yes.
Well, you know what? That brings up the thing that you said earlier in the show, which is trust.
Yeah. So,
do you want to talk about that?
Oh, go ahead. I won't.
So that's the nice thing about our community and our people. We have that. We've all proven it, that goes a long way. Our agreements, like you said, like the people that we're doing with now, we have that trust. And really, we put down on 2 pages, hey, if anything goes sideways, here's what we're all going to do. We pretty much shake hands. I don't even think it's not even notarized, but it's just kind of we trust each other.
Yeah.
And I like too, one of the things that we do is when you're starting out, do 1 or 2 deals or something first. This is when I've heard you tell this to people all the time, Jack. Make sure you guys all get along. Make sure you guys all really think the right way. Do 1 or 2 before you decide you're going to do 10 or 50.
Yep.
Make sure it's going to work out and then go forward. And then you don't even have to you could do a 1 or 2 page agreement while you're testing all this with your new money partner. You don't even have to go form an LLC or anything together. Don't do that yet. Test it and then go forward.
Yep.
But trust is important.
And talk about, with a private lender specifically, talk about if this whole thing goes sideways, what are we going to do?
Right. Who gets the asset?
Or all of for some people want the assets, some people want to just work it out together, even if there is a money loss. So everybody's different.
That's
really
true.
Just listen to what they want.
Exactly. People don't realize, this is the one thing that I always come back to is people don't, just because you're not in that situation doesn't mean the rest of there's not people out there. There's so much money out there. I defy anyone to go to any REI, meetup, any kind of real estate event. There's always a money person standing in the back. There's always a money person in that room, and they're there for that reason. People
before you have solved the solution.
Yeah.
Very, very few people put their own money or all of their own money the way we do into real estate acquisitions.
That's true.
And so if you're doing the deals enough and you're talented enough at finding good properties, and you have a little bit of a track record, a good track record, even if you're brand new, starts with being in a group like ours. Not necessarily our group, but just associating yourself consistently with other people who are successful.
It's true.
It's just You tell the kids all the time, get in the right group. Don't get in the wrong group in high school.
Yeah, hang with the right crowd.
It's the same thing with us.
It brings you up. You know, you're right. Because you know what? Well, it's like, I think I do. It's like a sport. I always think of sports in this situation. When you're playing with a team that's tougher than you, you always go up. You always play up. If you play with a team that's worse than you, you get sloppy and you play down.
I always think of that in terms of marriage. Like, you should
marry up, not down.
I married up. So where
what
does
that say about
you?
me? I did also, Jack. Silly.
We're better together than we are apart.
Absolutely.
Jill and I have we've agreed on that off the air.
Yeah. Sometimes calmly. Sometimes at the higher voices. But
sometimes it goes like this. Jill, I know you're upset, but are we better together or apart?
And I say, yes, I'm not mad.
I'm happy, damn it.
That's right.
Well, you've done it again. You've wasted another 20 minutes or so listening to the Jack Jill Show. Join us tomorrow where we discuss why the same exact house costs so much. The price is so different than, let's say, Texas or California.
And we answer your questions should you have one on our online community, JackJill.com. Go there. It's free.
You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
Funny.
Finding money's so easy.
I know. People think that.
I got to be honest. I don't like doing it, though.
I know.
Do you?
I don't. Oh, so that's a good point. Why is it hard to ask?
I don't know.
And I love getting asked. I love care.
Providing money.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know what? It's one of those things we just have to overcome. You know, so if you have 10 great deals.
Well, we have overcome it.
Well, I know
that. The people that are involved with us, the people who are funding House Academy are maybe the greatest people ever.
No, I wasn't referring to you in general. I was referring to you as a listener.
Oh.
So I know you've overcome it. I know you've overcome pretty much everything. Jack, is there anything that you're afraid of?
You know what I'm concerned about recently? This is a good topic.
Yeah.
And it's actually appropriate that it's on the after show. I question how I'm spending my time. Oh. So it's not a fear, but I haven't done this in years and years. Like, I've always gotten up and said, this is exactly what I should be working on. But more recently, I'm wondering, is it better for me at this point to be involved in buying and selling real estate at all? Because there's so many people around us now that are so good at it. A lot of them are better at it. You're one of them. You're better at buying and wholesaling houses out almost the next day than I am.
Really?
You're less emotional about it. You're more, you give direction better, and people respond to you better, Jill, because you're not as adamant. I'm just going to call myself adamant, which is a nice way of saying kind of angry about it.
Adamant, angry, whatever. No, thank you.
My contribution here from a land academy and a house academy standpoint, and writing these ebooks and spreading the word, it seems to be way more efficient and proficient and easier to accomplish than actually doing real estate deals. I'm better at spreading the word than doing the deals.
It's very interesting.
And it's not because I'm bad at doing deals or because they're hard to do, because they're not. It's just that I've done like 16,000 of them, and I'm a little tired of it. And that's not an exaggerated number. There's a very long-winded, complicated answer to what you just asked me.
Yeah. Did you even answer the question?
What do you?
The question is, are you afraid of anything? Are you afraid of being burnt out? Are you afraid?
I'm concerned about not using my time efficiently.
Got it. Afraid of wasting time.
Yeah. What are you concerned about?
That's very interesting.
It's a hard question to answer, isn't it?
Yeah, you know why? Now, because you turned it around on me and I'm having trouble. You're right. So what am I afraid of? You know what? I'm afraid now of not going for it. I'm actually in the point right now. This is a very deep conversation.
We've gone for it.
But we could go for it even bigger, babe. Seriously, I'm at the go big. I'm really like, why do 10 when we can do 100? Because we know how to do it.
When we're done with this show, I'll share our budget, our 2018 budget with you.
Okay. All right.
At the time of recording in March 18, and in the next 11 months, we're scheduled to generate $1 billion of revenue.
So we are going to do 100.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
100? No, it's a lot more than that.
Okay, but you know what I mean. So, all right.
But it just seems because we're at the end of the House Academy startup phase, and now we're really kicking it into gear.
Right.
And you're probably sitting there saying, "This is a lot of work for not a lot of outcome," but the outcome's coming.
Okay.
Like the Boots on the Ground program, God, couldn't have gone better.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many people all over the country reaching out to us, and we've chosen a couple people to work with it, and it just couldn't be going better.
Mm-hmm.
We have all this money being thrown at us and we're sending mail out. It's all.
I know.
We're right there.
Okay, good. Thank you, Jack. Hey, share the fun by subscribing on iTunes or wherever you're listening. And while you're at it, please rate us there. We are Jack and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.